I think it's disgraceful. I specifically said to the makeup artist that there was too much glitter, way too much glitter. The tint was all wrong in that foundation I was wearing on Tuesday night in the first episode. I specifically said to the makeup artist, way too much ingrained tint, too much powder. He wasn't listening anyway. Okay, next time. What's the last time? Do I have to do everything myself? What? I did press the right button. I did. Who's pressing the buttons? God damn it. Music. For God's sake, stick to the running order. Huh? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Hello. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Stephen here. Great to have you back here on Thursday night's episode of Stephen's World Cup Movies and Music News Show live here on Facebook on the StubVid Media platform. Okay, hopefully everyone is tuning in. I'll let the audience grow naturally. Cool. This usually takes a moment or two whilst people get notifications in their iPhones and Androids directing them to this broadcast. So just one moment now, and we've got a packed show tonight. Big show coming up tonight. That's a great graphic, guys. Seriously, that really was worth waiting for all week. Okay, if you're watching the show, if anyone is out there in the World Wide Web, please let me know in the comment thread below. Hello, we got people watching. We got Tommy Farrell. You're first again, Tommy. But what I respect about you being first on both occasions is you didn't actually type the word first, which is what the kids used to do back in the early days of internet. But Timmy Mallet, you were referring to Timmy Mallet there and his foam mallet, which is a particular favourite of mine in children's TV. If people out there aren't aware, in the mid-80s, early 80s to the late 80s, there was a guy called Timmy Mallet who was a children's TV presenter long before the dark times, long before they all ended up in jail. And although interestingly, what Timmy's act seemed to revolve around was him beating children relentlessly with what appeared to be a foam mallet. But on certain occasions, it seemed more like a hard rubber mallet, which can be very painful. Believe me, I know a lot about rubber objects, molded rubber objects. So I hope that answers your question, Tommy. Thanks for asking. Hello, Jackie Taylor, all the way over there in Northern England, not the Midlands, Northern England. Thanks for tuning in tonight, Jackie. If you have any questions or any queries about the World Cup, movies or music, just leave them there in the comment thread, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Because it's Facebook Live, I think there's a slight delay in what I'm saying and what you're hearing and what you're typing and I'm replying. So don't expect instant gratification. And that's something you should remember in life in general. Never expect instant gratification, or you'll always be disappointed. Thank you, Tommy. Hope that answered your question. Great. So we've got a packed show tonight. We've got the results of for anyone watching on Tuesday night, our first episode. You'll know that. 1 second. Just bear with me. Just bear with me for a second now. Put my company logo up there in the top corner, so the people all over the world can know who to direct their something. Oh, Connor Nolan's back. Connor Nolan, the one and the only. Connor Nolan. Thanks for tuning in, Connor. Yes, you're referring to my mustache there, Connor Nolan. Referring to my mustache, and I'll have a lot more to say about that and some of your previous comments about my mustache a little bit later in the show. Okay, coming up on the show, one of my interns was meant to type up the running order for tonight's show, but it didn't. The printer imploded, or something happened. My intern imploded. That's the kind of pressure I put on my interns. So I don't have a running order as such, but I can tell you roughly what's happening. We have the results of our fantasy World Cup fantasy team. So on Tuesday night's episode, we of course were looking for our goalkeeper. We were looking for our goalkeeper, weren't we? And the options were Kasper Schmeichel, L337 from the solo Star Wars movie, A Star Wars Adventure, and Mick Fleetwood from the Mick Fleetwood tribute band, Fleetwood Mac. And I'll give you those results. Well, I think I gave you the results on the night, but some of you probably weren't listening or weren't watching. Apparently the average viewing time for the show is 56 seconds. So we need to make a dramatic improvement on those viewing figures in the coming weeks. Okay, that's great. So we've got a few people watching now, and we'll proceed with the show, I think. Feel free to share. Feel free to share the show. That's hard to say. Feel free to share the show as it's going live. I'll do it myself, actually. It's difficult to do on my phone, but I'll do it on my laptop here. So There's a number of laptops and electronic devices all about me here. Okay, so yeah, so the results of you'll be happy to know. If the music is too loud, let me know. I think it's just about right. Yeah, so that was the vote there on Tuesday night for our goalkeeper, and the results were 7 smiley faces for Mick Fleetwood, 2 love hearts for L337, and just a one for Kasper Schmeichel. Just a one for Kasper Schmeichel, which means our winner was, drumroll please, the winner was Mick Fleetwood. Woo! How about that? Round of applause for Mick Fleetwood. You can put the clapping hands emoji in the comments there to congratulate Mick Fleetwood on a rousing victory against some tough composition, I can tell you. To be honest, I thought L337 was a shoe-in for that position with her gigantic robotic arms and ability to squash 6 metric tons of metal underfoot, which is very useful against some of the Argentinian players, I can tell you. If anyone is watching the match tonight, brutal. I haven't seen that much violence between Argentina and Croatia since I was going to say the Falklands War, but that would make no sense. Scrub that. Croatia weren't involved in that war. I'll come up with a better analogy later on. If you got a better analogy than that, put it in the comment thread. So the question is, I haven't seen that much violence between Argentina and Croatia since, and finish the sentence, thank you. You know, we're a team here. It's not just me. It's you, the audience, who is contributing to this show. It's all about immersive engagement. When Mark Zuckerberg changed the rules, when Mr. Zuckerberg changed the rules a few months ago about Facebook Live and Facebook in general, he specifically mentioned the need for immersive engagement, likes, shares, emojis, reaction emojicons, comments, lots of comments, lots of likes, engagement, immersive engagement. That's what we're going to do here in the show over the coming weeks. Whew, so great. Hopefully there's a few people watching. Okay, so our agenda today is, well, of course, we'll start off with the fantasy team. Who are we voting for this show? So Mick Fleetwood's our goalkeeper. The next position in our #WokuMomu fantasy team 2018 is, drumroll please, our left back. No team can truly sail the high seas without a strong, stern, something like that. A strong bow. Is the bow the front or the back? Bow or stern. The stern is the back of a boat. So you need a very strong bow to sail your fantasy team. And there's no stronger place in the stern of a ship than the left back position. So these are our 3 candidates, ladies and gentlemen, tonight. Number 1, we got Luke Shaw, a left back from Manchester United, I believe. A sound player of heart and mind. Not so good on football, but he's a nice lad and respected by most people in his family. And with the love hearts there, we have Sporty Spice, who was the leader of the Spice Girl band there in the 1990s and noughties. They came back in the noughties a couple of times. In fact, I think they came back in the teens. This decade's called the teens. They came back in the teens again for another comeback. That's great. And the final candidate for our left back position in our fantasy team is Trent Reznor. Trent Reznor did the soundtrack for the Facebook movie, which was called The Zuckerberg Adventures. Or Zuckerberg Diaries. No, what was it called? I can't remember what it was called. I think it was just called a Facebook movie. So Trent Reznor was the guy who did the soundtrack for that. I also believe he was in a band, a rock and roll band called the 5 centimeter Nails. That's an old joke. No, the 9 Inch Nails. So that's great. So that is a pretty strong lineup. Pretty strong lineup. Wait, what was Luke Shaw in the Accrington Stanley ad? Could have been him, Tommy. It could well have been him. I remember he was a small, kind of cheeky-faced, blonde-haired child, and it would have been the right time as well, mid to late 80s. Yeah, it could well have been Luke Shaw. We'll look into that. I'll get my team to look into that. No, they don't seem to be. They seem to have left the room. Okay. Okay, so hopefully there's a few people watching. Tommy Farrell's watching. He sent me an angry face there. I'm not sure why, but maybe because I didn't really answer the question. That's why. Just getting calls there on my other machine. Great. I hope this is enjoyable. So, we're voting for a fantasy team. That's the first thing we're doing. Lots coming up on the show today, including Mick Jagger's impact on the World Cup so far, which I'm sure you've all been talking about. If not, I'll fill you in on that. Don't worry about it. I'll fill you right in on that, about Mick Jagger. His tentacles are long and his vengeance is total. I'll tell you all about Mick's impact so far, specifically on the Brazilian team. Deeply disturbing. Sorry. Oops. Yeah, there's the vote there, guys. Click your emojis to vote for our left back. This vote will continue for the next half hour to 45 minutes. There's no exact end time for the show. Roughly 45 minutes to 1 hour. Sometimes less. Okay, Tommy. Sorry, Tommy, you were voting for Trent Reznor and not just casting shade on me. Oops. Cool. So just for people tuning in, I'll just leave that to one side there while you can still see my face. Now, people might notice that my face is a lot less shiny and red or dark brown as it was, dark reddish brown actually, kind of a burnt mahogany. And that's because there was a makeup malfunction in the first show on Tuesday night, and my makeup team have been severely spoken to. There were some strong emails sent as well. A number of angry tweets were also sent to them, and they've had some time to reflect. What seems to have happened was they just bought some very cheap makeup. I mean, the budget was about €2 for the makeup, but you know, there's some fantastic quality discount shops now where you can do a full week's shop for food, toys, and makeup for €2. So I'm not quite sure what shop they went to, and I haven't looked at the receipts yet. But the makeup just wasn't up to the job. So we got a fantastic new makeup kit this week, which I'll be showing you now in a sec. Yeah, so we got much. I think you'll all agree I look a lot better because just 1 second now. I think I have images of the makeup, how it looked last night. I believe. I think I do. It's possible I don't. Just bear with me for a second now. Yeah. Well. Yeah, I mean, you can see in this image here. You can see in this image here. You can see in this image here. You can see the red shiny nose. Sorry. You can see. you can see the red shiny nose, kind of blistered capillaries. Well, that's what it makes it look like, and so on. And a reddish hue. There's a reddish hue there to the skin that was not meant to be there. That was the makeup team's fault, and that will not happen again. Not on my watch, let me tell you. So we got a much better setup this today. Here we go. We got a much better higher quality makeup kit. We splashed out on this one. Well, I splashed out on it. So that's much better. And we're if you're in case you're wondering, this is the one. Wow, it's very hard to point to stuff when you can't see it. Not that one, the other one. It's that one. Cool. So we're all on the same page now. I just need to finish off my forehead a bit there. There's a bit of a shine. It's better. It's much better. Okay, let's get to the show now. Sorry, there's some makeup on the camera there. Cool, hope you're enjoying the music and yeah, so on. Cool. Drinker's nose, Connor Nolan says, not at all. It was bad makeup, Connor. Bad makeup. I hardly take a drink these days. Okay, so there was some comments made specifically about my appearance on Tuesday night, which I think were a bit uncalled for. Although Neil MacDonald had a very complimentary comment, I suppose in reference to my looks, which I found quite heartening. I'm touching myself while watching Stephen, which is very nice of you, Neil, and I really appreciate that. I take that as a real and profound and sincere compliment. There was some other comments that were Natalie C. Black said, Steve, where are you on your holidays? You have a great colour. So once again, a compliment. So there was some diamonds amongst the rough in the comments thread on that particular episode. Once again, I'll take that as a sincere and profound compliment. And it was also, he's a strawberry blonde, referring to my hair, I think. And Connor Nolan referring to my mustache, I slipped. And there was some issues with my mustache. But once again, makeup malfunction. Not my fault. So everything's okay now. So if you want to contact me on any of the social media platforms, you can. Well, let's just do a bit of house cleaning before we move on. If you want to contact me on any of the major platforms, you can. There's my new graphic I made today. It's at Steve_Stubbsman. That's on Instagram, which is the one with all the photographs of people on holidays and eating their food on holidays and outdoor activities and bonding with their fellow human with great filters as well, which makes it even better, makes the whole experience much better. Otherwise things look a bit grey and damp, so it's always good to have those filters for whatever you do in life, I think. So that's Instagram. If you want to contact me on Twitter, it's @Madvertainment, which is one of my sister companies that I co-produce my own work with. So it's also my company, but it's a slightly different aspect of what I do. @Madvertainment is on Twitter. Okay, great. And of course, if you want to follow me on Facebook. No. Brian. Not yet, Brian. Brian, not yet. Brian. God damn him. Not yet, Brian. Sorry, that was just a bit of interference there on the satellite dish. I believe it was our Russia correspondent Brian Kerr just got a little bit ahead of himself, but he'll be with us later on for the Argentina-Croatia report, which was a fantastic match. A game of two halves, really. The first half was quite dull and extremely violent. The second half was even more violent, but at least there was a couple of great goals. That could be a Arrivederci Argentina. WC WC Sports Fields. That's a reference to the great actor WC Fields and his bulbous whiskey nose. In fact, I think he drank with his nose. He literally soaked it up like a sponge, absorbed it through osmosis. Okay. Sorry, if you're just joining us, we're voting for our fantasy dream team. And this is the team so far. We have Mick Fleetwood on goal. He's going to be a great keeper. Good guy. He had some tough times in the 70s and 80s. Went down a dark path, as we all do. But he's recovered recently and is now back with the Fleetwood Mac tribute band. And they're doing a world tour at the moment, I believe. So check him out there. And if you see him, say, "Hey Mick, best of luck on goal with the #WokuMove Fantasy Team 2018." And he'll know exactly what you mean by that. So, but tonight's candidates are Luke Shaw for left back, Sporty Spice for left back, or Trent Reznor for left back. Please press the appropriate emoji reactions. I think they're called reactions. Okay, let's call them emojis. Great. And okay, so it's a great show so far, I think you'll find. And kind of waiting for more people to show up, to be honest, before I launch into the really juicy material that I spent all day preparing. If you're there and you're watching, don't be shy, just say hi. Just say hi. It's all you gotta do. Someone's unliked this video. There was 5 likes, now there's only 4. That's okay. Okay. Okay, so coming up on the show, we'll be talking about Mick Jagger's influence on the World Cup so far. We'll be talking about that throw-in guy. Yes, if anyone doesn't know, there was an extraordinary incident with an Iranian player, Milad Mohammadi, and that throw-in. And there'll also be Brian Kerr giving his latest update on the Argentina-Croatia match. Okay. And there'll also be a few other things, a few other surprises as well. So we're going to get into the show. 27 minutes gone. Wow. I better get to it. Okay, so the Daily Star, my go-to website for all celebrity, entertainment, and world news. The Daily Star reported today that the Brazil team have barred Mick Jagger from the stadium. From their stadiums when they're playing. So the Brazil team have barred Mick Jagger from being in the same stadium as them when they're playing in the World Cup. Now, why is this, you might ask? Well, apparently, let me just pull the newspaper snapshot up on screen here. There's an actual Daily Star news. If I can just find it, 1 second now, please. Yeah. Oops, that's not it. Okay. There's a slight problem there with the machine. 1 second. This is live TV, live Facebook. This happens. Just bear with me now. So anyway, hold on. I'll have to bring it up on a different device here. Yeah, there was a slight error there. The Daily Star, the Daily News and Star had a fantastic story today about Brazil barring Mick Jagger from the World Cup because of the fabled curse of Mick Jagger. Now, if anyone's not heard of that, the Mick Jagger curse. Basically, what's happening is whenever Mick Jagger has gone to a World Cup that's involving Brazil and has been in the same stadium, Brazil have lost. So the question we're asking today is, This is the big question. Tonight's big question. Sorry, let me just take that off the screen. Tonight's big question is, how has the Mick Jagger curse affected your life? How has the Mick Jagger curse affected your life? And you're just tuning in. Basically what's happened is, look, you've all got phones in your hand now. Just Google it, trust me. Mick Jagger has had a deep and profound effect on Brazilian football over the last 20 years. Whenever he coincides his world tours with his Rolling Stone band, whenever they've been in the same town, in the same stadium as Brazil, Brazil have lost. So the question is, if it is, as it appears true, that Mick Jagger is some kind of evil wizard casting spells and curses against teams that he's in the presence of, or humans, the question I'm asking is, how has the Mick Jagger curse affected your life? Please feel free to leave it in the comment thread. And if at first you're thinking, I don't think Mick Jagger has ever affected my life in any way, good or bad, you're probably not thinking hard enough. So just think back on all the times you've listened to his songs maybe, or you've seen him in a football stadium with you, or just walking on the street, and how that has affected your life. I guarantee you might well have been affected. So that's the question we're asking. How has the Mick Jagger curse affected your life? Well, Tommy straight in there. Tommy Farrell is saying that the Mick Jagger curse has affected him by dropping his ice cream. Because Tommy, I believe, lives near Mick Jagger over there in London town, and he probably has seen Mick Jagger quite a lot down in Kensington or something like that, and it's caused Tommy to drop his ice creams, which is a terrible tragedy. To drop one's ice cream in haste, you have to go back and buy another ice cream. No one likes that, and especially with Mick Jagger pointing at you and frowning, well, he always looks like he's frowning, but you know what I mean. Thanks for that story, Tommy, and I hope you can rebuild your life. So, yeah. Once again, Tommy is straight in there with yet another terrifying story of mysticism and evil witchcraft. When Mick Jagger is on a poster in a train, I've been brought to an incorrect station. So what Tommy is saying there, he might be referring to the underground train stations they have there in London. When Tommy's on a train, overground or underground, wandering free, he sees, and if he sees a poster for Mick Jagger, probably for one of their upcoming shows or upcoming solo albums that no one buys, something bad happens, as in he's brought to the incorrect station. And if you're brought to the incorrect station in London, you're in big trouble. There's almost no way to get back to your other station. It's a very badly designed system, you know. Not as good as the U-Bahn in Berlin, a much more efficient system with multiple choices wherever you go. You're in the wrong station. There is no wrong station in the Berlin U-Bahn system. There's always a way back to where you want to go. In the London Underground, no, that's it. To make the wrong turn, that's it. You got to go up. You got to climb the stairs, maybe 2 kilometers up onto overground, and then catch the nearest bus, if you can. So that's great. Cool. So any more stories there about how the curse of Mick Jagger has affected your life? Just please leave them in your comments. Thank you. And you know, the phrase I like to use for any of these interactions, whether it's comments or photographs or links or emojis or anything like that, is you got to bump it to the cloud. Bump it to the cloud. Just bump it to the cloud, whatever it may be. Another terrifying story from Conor Nolan this time. When he was 15, He won a competition in Old Wesley RFC. I know it well. For dancing like Mick Jagger. I was stabbed shortly after. That's Conor Nolan. I'm paraphrasing Conor Nolan's story there in a comment thread. When he was 15, he won a competition in Old Wesley Rugby Football Club for dancing like Mick Jagger. So the young Conor was 15 in the Old Wesley RFC hall, dance hall, trying to impress the ladies perhaps in his little polo shirt and his ripped abs and powerful thighs. And he gave it his very best with his Mick Jagger impression. We all know it. And shortly afterwards, he was stabbed. Now, he doesn't say who stabbed him. Might have been Mick Jagger, who knows? Once again, it's the curse of Mick Jagger. Because that's the question, that's the big question we're asking tonight. How has the Mick Jagger curse affected your life? Thank you. And Tommy there is once again talking. Mick Jagger presides in a... Mick Jagger presides in a bucket in Kew Gardens and has poisoned the original Womble cast. So what you're saying there, Tommy, is Mick Jagger lives in a bucket in Kew Gardens and has poisoned the original Womble cast. I think that was the original opening lyric to Strawberry Fields Forever. I think it was part of the bitter feud at the time between John Lennon and Mick Jagger. But Paul McCartney persuaded John not to delete that line. And Tommy's just said, is the song "Move Like Jagger" by Scissor Sisters, I think. Is it about Conor's dancing nightmare in Old Wesley RFC? Don't know. You'd have to ask the guy, the band, the Scissor Sisters, if that's true. So I'll get my team to send him a line, send him an email about that. I'll get back to you. So that's great. There's only been There's only been one vote so far in the Dream Team fantasy team. There's only been one vote so far, and it's one angry face. So that means Trent Reznor is currently leading that, which is not much of a surprise, really. Because to be honest, if I had my way, I'd vote for Trent Reznor. I mean, the guy's hard as nails, 9-inch nails, in fact. Absolutely. Cool, so that's great. Look, I think it's just going to be the three of us probably, me, Tommy and Connor, but then again, we're used to that, aren't we, guys? We've been here before many a time. So what we'll do is we'll go on to the next module of the show, which is, you'll be happy to hear. Just, in case you aren't aware of what happened with that throw-in, yesterday the Iranian player, in the dying moments of the match, when they really needed to score, or otherwise be knocked out, he chose to attempt what can only be described as a totally bad throw-in. I can't put, and it was one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen in football. And I've been watching football for nearly 40 years. So let's watch that in case you haven't seen it. It's against Spain. They had to score. What's that? Let's watch that again. He kisses the ball. That's the first mistake. All he's got to do is throw the ball in. It's the last minute of the match. What is that? So he's become known as that throw-in guy across all the major platforms. Which got me thinking. Neil McGrath's here. Hello, Neil McGrath. Hello, Neil. Thanks for joining us here tonight. Wow, we got the makings of a pretty good rock band now. We got Conor Nolan on bass, Neil McGrath on stringed guitar, and we got Tommy Farrell on take your pick. He's a multi-instrumentalist. So let me pick. You're on drums, Tommy. You're on drums tonight. Cool. And of course I'm the lead singer. That goes without saying. That's awesome. Just notice I can see my t-shirt underneath my shirt there. I don't like that. Don't like those little imperfections in my costume. Okay, so that's great. So Neil, in case you aren't aware, we're having a poll, a vote for our fantasy dream team, which is made up of stars from music, movies, and World Cup. And in the first vote there on Tuesday night, we chose, the options were, for a goalkeeper, Kasper Schmeichel, L337, and Mick Fleetwood. And you won't be surprised to hear that the winner was Mick Fleetwood, the tallest man in rock and roll. And a gentle soul as well, and a fantastic lover, if you can believe all those biographies by ex-members of Fleetwood Mac. So there he is. He's the keeper. So now we need our left back, guys. Okay, Neil knows. Sorry, I'll go with Trent. Sorry, Neil. I'm just trying to fill people in here. This is the whole thing about engagement and immersive engagement, is to constantly remind people of what the hell is going on, because people are joining us all the time. So there's Trent. Trent's now got 2 votes. Someone has voted for Sporty Spice. Sporty Spice is coming up hot on Trent's heels, on his black leather, deep, melancholy heels. So it's what an interesting battle that is now between Sporty and Trent. The fun and sporty popsicle, Sporty Spice, and the dark, twisted razor leathers of Trent Reznor. So that's great. That's wonderful. Absolutely, Tommy. I agree with you totally. Your comment about Heather Smalls is 100% correct. In fact, Heather Smalls might pop up later in our dream team as a candidate. Who knows? She's quite the athlete, I tell you. A fantastic singer. That's great. So keep those votes coming in. Okay, so we're 42 minutes into the show. I better make sure I get to all the quality content, because we didn't get there yet, believe me. So I was just referring to, let's just play that one more time. This is that throw-in, all the internet is talking about. What was he thinking? Okay, so I mean, in a past life, I used to write sitcoms. I actually wrote and directed my own sitcom for RT, and 10 years ago. And as you can see, my career has gone up and up since then. The only way is up in Irish entertainment. So here we are. So, as a bit of an expert on a sitcom form, and how to create a good sitcom, and how to pitch a good sitcom, because that's how I got my sitcom 10 years ago. I pitched it good. I pitched it right between the eyes of the RTE honchos. And so I know how to do it. So earlier today, I put together a pitch based on a sitcom pitch to RTE, based on that throw-in guy. So do you want to see that? Please say yes in the comment thread. Do you want to see my sitcom pitch for that throw-in guy? One yes will do. Okay. Great. We'll just wait for one yes. So what I'm saying basically is, earlier today, because that Iranian player, that throw-in has become so popular and viral on the internet, that I want to leap upon the back of that success wave and turn it into a sitcom that could run for maybe 6 to 9 seasons and make me very rich, because I've learned a lot over the years about sitcoms. So here's my pitch. Thanks guys. Yes, Tommy, Neil McGrath, thank you twice, Tommy. See, there's actually a 30-second delay, so forgive me sometimes. Nothing I can do with the delay. It's something to do with the servers and Mark Zuckerberg and the cloud. You know, bump it to the cloud, but sometimes you got to bump it to the cloud and it takes 30 seconds. So sorry, get back to me, and here's the pitch, the little trailer for That Throw-In Guy. So, what do you make of that, huh? I think I'm quite proud of what I put together there in just a few hours. I think it gets across the characters, it gets across the plot, the storyline, the three-act structure of the show. It gets across the really cool music that's going to be in the show, and it really gets across the lovable character of what's his name? That Throw-In Guy. So hopefully RTE commissioned that. Okay. So now I think we're going to go over to Brian Kerr, who's just coming out of the stadium there over in Novi Nizhny Novgorod. He just watched the Argentina versus Croatia battle. The Battle of Nizhny Novgorod, it'll be called, because it was quite a battle, quite a vicious match between 22 grown men in their full pomp. So we'll try and get Brian there now. Brian, hold on now. Put my headset on. Let's try and get Brian there. Yeah. Brian is there. Brian, can you hear me? Brian, hello? Hello, Brian. Brian. Hello, Brian. Just having some problems there. Brian. Can someone turn the music off, please? We're trying to talk to Brian in Novi Novgorod, Nizhny Novgorod. Can someone get me the name of that bloody stadium? Okay, Brian.
How can you say that isn't a fella? I mean, he runs into the back.
Hi, Brian.
Grabs on his shoulder, holds a bit of his jersey, gives him a boot as well. There you go.
Brian, thanks. So that was a big match. That was a really fantastic. That's a great, big, fantastic match tonight. Very vicious match. Football was a bit mediocre in the first half. Brian, can I just butt in for a sec?
Over Sweden, haven't they? After 15 minutes or so, to have a look at Korea, probably decide.
Brian, can I just butt in for 1 second, please?
Pressure. Son, they put him in the more advanced position. I think they juggled it about.
Brian.
Just can't string any passes together, Korea, giving it away far too.
Brian, can I just talk for 1 second, please?
They're getting away with it around their own box. They had the best chance of the match.
Brian, can I just butt in for 1 second?
Hanging on here, aren't they? They need to survive to half time and maybe
Brian, can you just put in for 1 second, please?
More into the game. He's out there in the right wing, chasing up and down. Can hang in there? Well done, goalkeeper. Not too likely unless Sweden score a goal and then Korea have to come out and play a bit more. But
Brian,
they've lined up right to start the second half. You see the system is as it was, a 4-5-1, 4-1-4-1. There's Son back over to the left-hand side at the start of the second half. It doesn't look like there's any formation change or any intent to play a bit higher up the pitch. Good goal scoring record, hasn't he, Kujak Cole? Even at Augsburg, but internationally, John, not 19 international goals. I'd like to see him getting into that more advanced position where he can affect the game. Here he's on the ball now, but he's been so deep, having to chase back with his mate Wang Hee-chan. Both of them are back deep in midfield.
Okay, cut the line on Brian. Cut the line on Brian. Cut the line on Brian, please.
Son and DJ Son, both.
He's not responding. This is not a conversation. How can I cut the line on Brian?
Again, straight away.
Thank you. That's great. Thanks very much, Brian Kerr there in Novgorod with the Croatia-Argentina report. We're fully up to date now on that fantastic match. Cool. That's great. Well, I think we can both agree that this has been a terrible show. I think I can only blame my team. Who, for a slipshod effort at research, for example, the Daily Star News paper was meant to be on the screen. That was not sent to me at appropriate time, and I couldn't. The makeup is an improvement from the first show, but that's mainly down to me. All in all, it's been a bit of a disaster. That's a shame, but once again, this is just the early stages of this show. There's at least 2 to 3 weeks left in this show because we gotta build a fantasy team. We can't finish this show without building a fantasy team, and we got 11 positions to fill. My God! And our voting tonight, of course, if you're just joining us, we're clicking for our emojis for our left back. Our left back position: Luke Shaw, Sporty Spice, or Trent Reznor. So keep those votes coming in. So we're coming to the end of the show now, and I won't tell you the results until the next show. Well, there's been a dramatic change in the voting pattern. My goodness. There has been a dramatic change in the voting tally. Not quite sure if I should tell you what the dramatic change is, because that might affect the outcome, and that would be usurping the will of the people. It'd be interfering in an election. That's not what we do, and that's not what us Democrats do. Sorry, that's not meant to be on the screen, but you can follow me on Facebook if you want to. Okay, so that's great. So we're voting away there, and absolutely, Connor. Thanks for Brian is obsessed with he's obsessed with something. He's obsessed with talking. I'm trying to get him to calm down, but he actually is a great pundit and a great commentator. I think there's probably a problem with that line. Actually, probably can't hear me. So we'll try and fix that amongst a plethora of other things that we're going to have to try and fix for our next episode, which is going to be Monday, hopefully. Maybe we'll be back next week. To be honest, I don't know, but you'll be the first to know. Stay tuned to this DubVid Media page, because we're gonna have to try and get sponsors on board. I won't lie to you. We can't really do this show indefinitely without we have some big time sponsors. So that's what I'll be doing over the coming days. Any ideas, pop them in the comment box. Any money, pop it in the comment box. I can give you my PayPal account number, and you bump it to the cloud. Bump that cash to the cloud if you want. Oh wow, there's now a dead heat, ladies and gentlemen. There's a dead heat. There's now a dead heat in the voting system, and there's only a couple of minutes left in the show. So I haven't accounted for what happens if there's a draw. We might have to draw lots, which is actually what happens in the World Cup. If all the same teams in the group have the same goals and the same points, they draw lots, literally pieces of paper from a hat. Maybe they spin the bottle, although that could go wrong. A whole different game could begin then. So cool. So I did mention on Tuesday night show that we're going to play bingo balls, but there's been a slight malfunction with the bingo. I'll show you here. There's a slight problem with the bingo machine that we'll have to try and sort out. We'll have to try and sort out the problem with the bingo machine. There seems to be a problem with the gears. The gears are stuck. The gears seem to be stuck. 1 second. The machine is here. The machine here is here. We do have the machine, which I got flown in from Asia. That's where they make it. So, but there's a problem with this. It's jammed rock solid. So hopefully we'll get that fixed for World Cup Russia 2018 bingo balls. Big prizes to be won. We'll fix that for the next episode. Okay, I think we'll wind it up. I don't think there's anyone watching anymore, apart from the Golden Three, which is Connor, Tommy, and Neil McGrath. The Golden Three. What a fantastic lineup that would be up front for you. But those lads up front or at your back, there's no way you could lose. So that's great. I think we'll wind it up now. Let me see if there's anything left on the agenda. I don't think so. We're voting for our team. It's still a dead heat. It's still a dead heat in the voting. So if anyone's got any last minute votes, it might change the outcome or not. Okay. Great. Yes, Tommy. Indonesia is where I got it from. I got the bingo machine from Indonesia. But I think it was roughed up in the flight along the way. It was in the cargo hold along with all the cats and the dogs and the blow up dolls and stuff. So it was roughed up, and so I might have to send it back. But hopefully we'll get it fixed or returned by the next episode, as Dr. Dre sang about. Okay, so we were also asking about Mick Jagger. Tonight's big question: how has the Mick Jagger curse affected your life? Is he an evil wizard? Because apparently Mick Jagger is haunting the Brazilian team. They begged him not to come. Hi, Ray and Lee as well. Sorry, Connor Nolan has just told me Ray and Lee are watching. Lee Furnival. Hi, Lee Furnival. Thanks for joining the show. I'm deeply honoured for all newcomers to be here. Sincere happiness and love to everybody. Because love is the answer. Right there. What the question is, I don't know. But love is definitely the answer. And will we watch our sitcom pitch one more time, just for the people who are joining us late? So earlier today, I put together a pitch to RTE based on that throw-in guy, the Iranian lad who just did a hilarious fake throw-in. Here's the sitcom pitch I put together. Okay, there's been some gremlins in the machinery tonight, I'm afraid. This is what happens with a live Facebook program. There's an example of it right there. Okay. That's not the song I requested. Team, wake up! What is that? Okay, I'm done here. The show is over. Forget about it. Keep voting, keep voting. Trent Reznor is winning, by the way. He's now into a stunning lead. Thanks to everyone for watching. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, everybody. Neil McGrath. Everyone who's tuned tonight. It's been a total disaster. But then again, thank you.
Mais non,